kicking us off for our first news topic is one that we kind of discussed a few weeks ago, but it's more or less like set in stone now, about the upcoming Black Superman movie that we don't really know if it's a reboot or an alongside, like an Elseworlds type of thing. But when it first got announced, we were kind of wondering who the Superman would be. Would it be a Val Zod? Would it be a Calvin Ellis, a known Black Superman from the comics? No, it seems like our other idea that we had, that they might be going with a Black Clark Kent, is actually what they're going with. And I'm of two minds of this. I'm a bit more receptive to it than the rest of the internet has been, because the internet hates everything that isn't spot on in the comics. However, I get both sides of the argument for this. So I'm going to try and weigh the pros and the cons for this. The biggest con here, that some people still can see as a positive, but we'll get into that. The fact that you made this announcement of our new Superman will be Clark Kent. You make this announcement on Henry Cavill's birthday. Like, yeah. That's a low blow to Henry Cavill. It doesn't close the door on him. I know a lot of people are just like, Henry Cavill got fired from Superman on his birthday. That's not true, because Warner Brothers has very clearly said that this is on its own separate Earth, own separate timeline, whatever you want to call it. This is separate from everything else. I think that's a good call, but also, here's where some people are going to get mad. I think it's a smarter move for him to be Clark Kent than Val Zod or Calvin Ellis. And here's why. More people know the name Clark Kent than Val Zod. When people think Superman, they think Clark Kent. And I know we said it a few weeks ago, you could have a Val Zod or Calvin Ellis Black Superman in a movie, that's fine. But people are still going to be wondering in the back of their minds, where's the Clark Kent of this world? Is he out there somewhere? And nipping that in the bud now, saying, there's no other Clark Kent, this is Clark Kent of this world, I think is a smart play from a marketing standpoint. I'm still apprehensive about this movie just because we have a perfectly good Superman sitting in our laps, just like sitting at home, anxiously waiting to do this. Like, the man has kept himself in Superman shape, just waiting for the call, and they've done nothing with him. However, I'm not going to dissent like the rest of the internet and just be like, you're replacing Henry Cavill, this is a bad choice, you can't, or worse yet, those idiots out there going, you can't have a Black Superman be our main Superman. Like, I don't know. But this is still frustrating to me because this seems like a blatant PR move from Warner Brothers. Like, I'm not one to typically just go, this is woke culture or whatever else. But we've seen Warner Brothers not have the best track record for diversity and respecting actors of other backgrounds. Look, they're just like, hey, look over here, look over here. We're not in the middle of an investigation with Ray Fisher due to racial profiling. Don't look over here. Whereas I was genuinely pissed, but also just laughed to myself when they said a list of certain Black directors that were being considered for this. And they're just like, JJ Abrams is not being considered to direct for this movie, as some might view that as tone deaf. And I'm going, really? Really? Warner Brothers, you think hiring JJ Abrams, that would be the tone deaf part here?
Yeah.
Having a white guy direct a Black superhero. Not, you basically ruining the career of one of your Black actors from your pre-existing DC franchise.
Yeah.
You still in an investigation with that. Like, I think I'm looking forward to this just because I'm looking forward to any Superman movie. But I'm so just burnt out is not the right word. I'm just more just like, this is a clear and blatant, like, just PR move more than anything else. Yeah. If the Ray Fisher stuff hadn't come up recently, I'd be much more amped for this. But Josh, do you see it any other way, or are you excited for this? What are your thoughts?
The only negative here was I felt exactly like some did, that why would you do this on Henry Cavill's birthday? Like, that timing it feels like somebody would have to be really, really stupid to not realize that coincidence. Um, that's just, and like I know some people that work in like marketing firms, like that would be something you know. Like so, whatever, man. With that being said, though, I'm absolutely down with this. I've seen some fan casts of like who could play Kal-El and who would play Luther, and a lot of them I'm really down with, honestly.
Okay, let's dive into that then. The rumor obviously has been Michael B. Jordan. What for what feels like years, basically. But he said he's on the sideline, and I kind of believe it, just because I think he'll be more preoccupied with producing stuff, because he's been a very big behind the scenes role for the past few years. He's producing the Static Shock movie, which if you were the people making this movie, would you? Now that you have a black Clark Kent, would you also have a black Lex Luthor? Or do you think the dynamic would be more interesting if you kept Lex Luthor white? Josh. Because I could see either way, actually.
Yeah, I can see either way. And there's a lot of conversations here, too, because obviously you can't just ignore the race issues.
No, I think that's going to be a big factor.
Oh, absolutely. I think the bold and risky thing to do would be to keep Luther white. That obviously opens up a lot of like doors for really, really tough conversations. And like I can hear Luther in my head screaming, like someone, all powerful can't look like him or something like, like something really like sometimes something that would really challenge biases. But at the same time, knowing WB, they're not going to be ballsy enough to do something like that.
He could have a line something about like, "That's not the face of my savior."
Yeah, like but exactly, like that would be. But see, I don't see WB having the balls to put something like that on the big screen. I don't see that.
Like, if they were smart, this is where you right one of the biggest wrongs in the DCEU. And don't have Jesse Eisenberg. It's still one of the worst castings I've ever seen. Bring in Bryan Cranston as your Lex Luthor. Fix your biggest missed opportunity. I think it would be much more interesting if Lex remains white for this and have that be a kind of not the main reason that they fight, but definitely there's some underlying themes there. Like there were some underlying themes in Falcon Winter Soldier. But also, on the flip side, how cool would it be to have a strong and powerful black CEO type of like, I've come from nothing too, but I built myself up to be the most powerful man in Metropolis. You are all powerful, and I could see that dynamic too, kind of like a Killmonger Black Panther situation.
Yeah.
So
the casting I've seen for if they did a Black Luthor was his name escapes my mind at this particular moment, but the guy that played Gibbons in The Mandalorian. Is it Gideon? Not Gideon.
Gideon sounds familiar.
It's the
Moff Gideon?
Moff Gideon.
Oh, Giancarlo Esposito from Breaking Bad?
That's who I've seen.
Ooh.
Yeah, played opposite. Oh, jeez, and I can never remember this guy's name, but I see his face everywhere, mainly because he's in good what is it, The Good Place, and there's memes of him all the time. Hold on, let me live Google this.
While Josh is doing that, I don't really care what the race of Superman is. I don't care if it's Clark Kent, Val-Zod, or Calvin Ellis. I don't care what incarnation of Superman this is, so long as this Superman embodies what Superman is supposed to be. You can radically differentiate yourself from the Zack Snyder ones. One, the obvious one, but two, if your character starts off hope and optimistic, despite maybe having a tough upbringing, if you have Jonathan and Martha also be black and upbring him in a very tough era, again, that could, and he still chooses to be the hopeful and optimistic person in the world, like, that's powerful right there, because heaven forbid, Superman be hope and optimism for everyone. Now,
Yeah.
because I care about the aesthetics, do we think he would have that look? Like the Calvin Ellis, the blue with the white and red S? I'm also kind of a traditionalist, and I would like to see what a black actor would look like in the traditional red and blue, because I'm still kind of more of that, because as much as I love the Man of Steel look, I would like a more saturated and full of color version of the suit.
So the actor is William Jackson Harper. I don't know if that sounds familiar to you at all, but he's a comedic actor at his core, so the bumbling idiot side of Clark Kent could actually be a pretty feasible thing. But anyway, that's besides the point. I'd be down for traditional. I think it means more to give him the traditional. Because then it's not like, well, he's Superman, but he's not like Superman. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Although, because I haven't even really given oh my gosh, I'm terrible with names right now. They haven't given Cavill hit like a real Superman suit yet anyway, so.
Well, that was apparently Zack Snyder's plan all along.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
In terms of casting the actual Superman character, I don't have anybody off the top of my head, just because even if it was a white Superman and we had to recast, I couldn't think of anything, because Superman requires such a hard skill set to narrow down. I think it's easier to cast Batman than it is Superman, because Superman has to have the physical presence but also the comforting presence. So I kind of hope that we follow the Superman trend of cast an unknown, give some guy his big shot here. I think that could be great. Plus, if it's not a known actor, we'll just see the role. Like, as much as I love Michael B. Jordan, I don't really want him as Superman, just because I won't see Superman. I'll just see Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
So I have optimism about this. It also, because I refuse to let optimism die here, it's just me, the Superman lover in me refuses to let go of a good thing and refuses to lose hope in anything. Since they've made this abundantly clear that this takes place on a different Earth and a different timeline, Henry Cavill is not ruled out yet. Not officially. Until they officially say something, it's Schrodinger's Superman. He's both dead and he's alive at the current moment. I refuse to give up on Henry Cavill. I think making this Clark Kent also makes it really much easier to tell this is on a different Earth. Whereas if, like I said, if it was Calvin Ellis or Val Zod, would be like, well, where's Cal? It's the Venom situation all over again. Since we haven't seen Spider-Man in the Venom movies, we're going, well, when is he going to show up? And I think we would kind of have the same mindset of, yeah, this Superman's cool, but when is Clark showing up? And making him Clark off the bat, that silences that question at least.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So I choose to still see this as a good thing for the most part, but it's going to be tricky, but it's not so much a race thing, it's just any Superman project over the past decade has had a tough go of it from a production standpoint.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's only so much you can do on that, too. At least with that, like you said, at least with them saying, like, it's Clark off the bat, they are starting on a decent foot, given all the circumstances of the day that they released the news, blah, blah, blah. But to me, it's not the best foot, but it's a good foot.